In this video, we're talking about how to simplify your repayments so that you can get out of your debt faster. And I have 4 tips for you to use to speed up your repayments. The first one might seem like a bit of a no-brainer, but if you can make extra payments on your debt, please do it. However, please don't penny pinch so badly within your budget that you can't enjoy life anymore, because that is just not going to set you up for success. You're just going to feel more and more depressed paying off your debt. We need to feel hopeful about this, so you need to be enjoying life at the same time as you're paying it off. The second thing you can do is you can call creditors to make sure that your payments are going towards the principal that you owe. That's the amount you actually owe on your credit card or your car loan. Every time you make a payment, they're automatically going to put that towards the interest that you've paid, and then anything left over they'll put towards the principal that you owe. That means you're staying in debt longer. If you can't pay down the principal, you will constantly be living in a state of paying off interest. So please call your creditors, gently and politely push them to make this happen. Most creditors can, some might not be able to, but just so you know, when you get on the phone with, let's say, your credit card company or your loan officer for your car, whatever it is, the person on the phone is just working in a call center. They might not have the authority to do this, or they might not even know that they can. And they might just say to you, oh, it's policy, we can't do that. They don't know all the policies in place. Just politely and gently request to speak to a manager and find out if you can be putting your payments towards the principal. The faster you're able to pay down the chunk that you actually have borrowed, the less you're going to pay in the long run, because you're not paying as much interest on it. You see what I'm saying? So try to make it so that you're putting your payments onto the principal as much as possible. The third thing you can do is consolidate your loans. So let's say you have multiple credit cards. You can get a personal loan from your bank if they'll approve you for one. That usually comes in at a lower interest rate. So you can take, how it would usually work is you apply for a loan in the amount that you need to pay off your credit cards, and then, or your car or whatever it is you're trying to pay off. Then they approve you for the loan. They give you that cash in full, right? They're giving you this big chunk of money. And you have to be careful you don't go and use it on a trip to like Tahiti or something like that. You need to take that huge chunk of money and pay off all the debt on your credit cards or the loan or whatever it is you are wanting to use that to pay off. And then you're going to not use those cards anymore. You're just going to be focusing on one repayment, and that's this one consolidated loan, this one personal loan you've gotten from your bank. For people who have lots of different debts here and there, this can often feel like a much easier way to manage their money. Instead of saying, I'm putting $25 on this card and $5 on my Macy's card, or $65 on my Target card, or, and then $100 on my Visa or my MasterCard, they might just pay all of those off, cut them all up except for one in case of a severe emergency, and then just pay off the one loan. Like, just get one loan from your bank or whoever you're going to get it from, and then just have one monthly payment that you have to pay. And it just feels a lot better to know you have one payment and then that's it. Now it's going to be a much bigger number you're paying off, but the interest rate's usually generally going to be lower than a credit card. So it's worth looking into. And the last thing you can do, and I don't recommend this for everybody, is to ask for a personal loan from family or friends. If your debt is out of control because your interest rates are so high and you just can't get ahead of it, and you have family members or friends that you think you can approach and you can ask for a loan and you pay them back. So kind of like asking the loan. If let's say the bank doesn't approve you for a loan to pay off all of your debt, you may say you're going to ask your parents or friends. They're going to give you the chunk of money, you're going to pay off all the credit cards, and then you're going to pay them back like you would the bank. Now, this is not for everybody, because bringing money into relationships can often make them more challenging. If you're going to go this route because you think that you have a friend or family member you can do this with where it's not going to hurt or inhibit the relationship, then you still need to treat this like a loan from a bank. You need to draw up a contract with the person who's lending you the money. A handshake is not going to do in this situation, because what one person says today is not what one person remembers a year from now. You need to have it written down on a piece of paper, and you both need to agree to it. You both sign both copies. So you say, I'm going to be making payments to you on the 15th or the 5th or the 20th, whatever, of every month in this amount, and this is how much interest I'm paying you. They're going to maybe they'd give you an interest for your loan. Wouldn't that be amazing? But if they are going to charge you interest, ideally it's going to be lower than what a bank would obviously charge you. That's why you're going to a friend or a family member. But you need to have a contract drawn up with them. It doesn't have to be done by a lawyer, but it needs to be agreed between the two of you that these are the terms you're agreeing to. And I'll tell you one thing that's going to really save your ass in this is that if you're making monthly payments to, let's say, your parents, or your friend, and then all your friends are going out to a concert or something like that, you're not then going to feel like you can't go to that concert. Oh no, my friend's going that I borrowed money from and I owe them money. It's okay that you can do these things because you're still making the payments to your friend. You still have room in your budget to enjoy life and to do things, to go for dinner, to go for brunch, that kind of thing, whatever you've arranged in your budget, but you're still keeping your commitment to the contract you've made with your family or your friends and abiding by that by making those payments on time. And if you can, you're making extra payments. That is always going to put you in good standing with whoever you're borrowing from. So these are just 4 tips you can use to speed things up or simplify things. I really think that it's worth looking into 1 or 2 of these at least. Definitely calling your creditors to find out if you can put the money towards the principal. While you're on that phone call, ask if they can reduce the interest rate. You never know. They just might. They might say, sure, we'll give you a lower interest rate for the next 6 months. Actually, a 5th thing I will say, I know some people who do this, is they will apply for a new credit card that's got a 0%, for example, interest rate for the first year. They'll transfer all of their credit card debt onto that one credit card and then pay as much of that debt down as they possibly can within that first year because there's no interest on it. That is an option, but if you're opening up another credit card, please make sure you're cutting up your other ones. Having more credit cards isn't always the solution, but in this case, it actually could help you. So that is all I have to say about that. I would love to hear in the general discussion which one of these you're going to try and how successful you are in doing it. So let us know in the community. We'd all love to hear from each other of how we're doing on this journey. See you in the next video.